This is The Independent. Welcome to it. You have stumbled upon something delightful. Now go tell the others. Some documents on Benghazi were declassified as Fox News' James Rosen unearthed some top-secret congressional testimony that could be pretty damning to the president. Within minutes about hearing of the attack, military and Pentagon officials were briefed all the way up to Leon Panetta and the president. In those important, deadly moments, no one talked about a video protest. They spoke plainly of terrorism. So why is this narrative so misleading? I'll let you go first, Bill.
My question is, why did no one say anything? I mean, what I don't understand is that all these top-level folks came in and briefed the president. They knew exactly what happened, yet on one hand, they let their spokespeople go out on all the shows and say, nope, it was a video, we've offended someone. Even the president's own first reaction was an apology and a discussion about how we're sensitive to all religions, which was completely off the track. So my question is, A, why did no one in the administration come forward and say anything? And B, what was the president thinking? Because I think you could put that as, did he lie about it? What did he know? When did he know it? And we now know.
Actually, the great thing is I can answer Bill's question, because the fact of the matter is the president did, on 2 occasions, call it an act of terror. If you go back and you look, the president came out very clearly and said it was an act of terror. So, in fact, the president did call it a terrorist act. There is no news.
I mean,
wait a minute, that's not true. Wait, he used the word terror attack,
that's the wrong
but he
argument.
tied it to a video.
Yeah,
he was talking about that was completely off base.
But
and there's never been an attack, an evaluation, evolution of the facts on the ground. Yes, that happens all the time.
But this, the point is that they knew about it. They knew about it in this scheduled briefing that was going to happen that day. They knew the embassy was under attack. They knew the ambassador had gone missing. They knew it.
And you have long-term, decades long-term, uniform and civilian military officials and analysts who knew right away what that was. Because when you have that amount of training and when you have access to that kind of intel and you use your intuition and your brain, you are pretty quickly informed of what that is. And there was a group consensus. I want to know the timeline as to when the idea of the video poked its way in. And I truly think it's so the president could stand up at the State of the Union and be like, yep, there's been no terrorism on my watch. There's a big difference between something that is terrifying and something that might have elements of terror and terrorism.
I do wonder if we're talking about the appropriate thing when we keep getting caught up on whether or not he said terrorism, whether or not he called it an act of terror. What is plainly obvious at this point is that the administration had an opportunity to say, you know what, we don't quite know what happened. We're looking into this. That would have been the responsible thing to do. What the administration did, however, was deliberately go out and sell a story that they knew at the time. It's demonstrably obvious, but that they knew at the time was incomplete at the very least, and sold it as definitive. And they locked someone up for making a video.
I think
absurd.
A lot of the dispute over this is actually people trying to seem like there's more of a difference than what there was at the time, right? People knew from the beginning that this looked like a semi-organized terrorist attack. They also knew that a lot of people were talking about this video or using it as an excuse on September 11th all around the Muslim world, right? They knew both of those things. We can all say they knew both of those things. The problem is in the definitiveness of the statements of this only happened because of this. This was not in response to U.S. policy, as James Carney definitively said on September 16th. This is only in response to a video. That is a problem because it throws free speech under the bus.
But a year and a half later, what's definitive is the Republicans and the far right are using this as an opportunity to delay nominations and create a whole firestorm around the president and around Hillary Clinton to gain political points. That's what's clear.
By the way,
Before people died,
that's
what's clear. But to use this a year and a half later about semantics is absurd.
Okay, no, let's shut your pie hole for just a second, because I'm going to make a point. All right? When you sit in this chair, then you can make all the mud 11 points you want. All right, let me tell you something about Hillary Clinton. Susan Rice claims she went on national TV to every Sunday morning talk show and lied because Hillary was tired. If you're so tired after a crisis, you can't be president. I'm sorry, you just can't.
I don't think that is actually the case.
That's what Susan Rice said. Said that the secretary was exhausted, and she didn't blame her because it was an emotionally trying week. if it's that emotionally trying, you can't be president.
And look, about your point of Republicans, I'm not a Republican, he's not a Republican. The show's not called The Republicans, right?
You act like them.
No,
seriously,
I'm actually interested in trying to figure out what happened and also to try to craft good policies and not overreact or blame some stupid video by some nutbag in Cerritos for something that he didn't do. I mean, that's getting the notion of incitement wrong. And looking into that is not by definition a partisan activity. Of course, partisans use it, but that doesn't mean that people who talk about it are themselves partisans or being opportunistic. It also
doesn't mean it didn't happen. I mean, this is now documented that this happened. This news was brought to the president almost immediately. So I would question, as a liberal, I think you'd want to ask that question. Why isn't it true that everything we've seen with the trending in this administration, with the NSA, the IRS, and Benghazi, that they are using the power of government to enhance their own power for political purposes?
And you know what? I don't. By the way, for what it's worth, I don't want Christie to be president either. Because, by the way, I think he's already a bully, and once he gets in the office, that's what I was saying about huffing the fumes. We're screwed. If those are our choices, we're screwed.
Well,
no wonder so many people are independents. I hope we have more
Governor
choices.
Walker.
I really do. Walker,
Record
Texas
high.
Ranger.
40-odd%.
Walker.
40-odd%.
Your fellow Bernard.
40-odd% and 25% identifies Republican.
Unless you can fill up your uterus with 8 babies, I have to bid you both farewell.
9.
But I hope you come back.
9 babies.
Really? Well done. Name that baby.